Hi again, everybody. Here we are with the second video in IELTS Speaking Part 1 questions and my tips on how to answer them in the most effective way in order to get the highest score possible. In the previous video, not only did I introduce myself, which I have to do again, my name is Mahdy, my nickname is Matthew, and my last name is Fakkary. I'm Mahdy Matthew Fakkary, and I've been an IELTS teacher for the past 5 or 6 years, and I've been an English teacher for the past 11 years. And in these series of videos, we're going to learn how to answer part one questions of IELTS speaking test. In the previous video, we discussed the first part, and I explained how to answer these questions and how these questions are almost constant, and they're always there, so the examiner will always ask at least a few one or two of these questions. And in this video we're going to discuss questions regarding work and how this is a very important topic. So let's see. Uh, we said that in the previous topic, we said that the examiner will ask you this question: do you work or are you a student? And we said that this is a question that you have to pick one answer for and deliver one and only one answer. Don't say you're a student and you work. Just pick one of them. In the previous video, I talked about being a student, and in this one, we talk about having a job or working. So, do you work or are you a student? Well, I should say that I'm an English teacher and I've been working for the past 11 years, although I have taken some extra projects, not as a teacher, but as a content producer, translator, interpreter, and other similar projects. But my main job, I would say, is a teacher. Then the next question is, do you like your job? So this is a question that can have three different answers. You could say yes, no, yes, and no. And it doesn't make a difference which one you say, because honestly, I've always said it, and I strongly believe it, that the examiner does not care what your feelings are, what your opinions are. The examiner only pays attention to your speaking, to your language, to how good you say your answers, to how good your answers are, how well you say your answers, or how good your pronunciation is, how high and advanced your grammar and vocabulary are. These are some of the points. There's task response, that you answer the question. There's uh, task completeness, that your answer is complete and lacks zero necessary information. Then there's cohesion and coherence, that your answer is linked, both the sentences are linked together, and that the words and the sentences that you say follow the same response. So when you say you like your job, you should, in the entire way, you have to, in the entire time, you have to talk about your job and whether or not you like it. So if you say yes, I like my job because when I was a child I did this, and then I grew up and I did that, then you're deviating from your response, and you're not actually answering the question, and it kills coherence. Cohesion says, I really like my job because of X. In addition, Y is a contributing factor. All in all, I think I'm very lucky to have this job. So we go with this. Do you like your job? So there's task response, task completeness, cohesion and coherence, vocabulary, and grammar. These are the things that the examiner will pay attention to, not you actually feel. The examiner doesn't give a crap about what you think or what you feel. It is your language. And in the next video, I want to talk about the $1,000,000 watch technique and how this technique can help us improve our answer. So, do you like your job? We go with the yes, because I really love my job. I'm very excited about teaching. I've been teaching for 11 years and I still love it. So, I go with yes. As a matter of fact, I do. I think that teaching is a job that, despite public opinion, does not get repeated if you're creative enough to make alterations whenever necessary. And you can teach the same subject to the same group of students in many, many different ways. And this not only asks for creativity, but is also very rewarding. So this would be an answer based on the technique that I introduced in the previous video, ARE. A stands for answer, R stands for reason, and E stands for elaboration. So ARE, yes, I do because of this, and then I elaborated. Then the next one, what do you do to improve your productivity? Again, this is a question that requires, that could benefit from ARE, but I would introduce a different technique here. PPF. The technique PPF is you say something about the past, which is the first P, then you say something about the present, which is the second P, and then you might introduce something about the future, which is the F. PPF, past, present, future. So, what do you do to improve your productivity? Well, early on in my career, I used to watch a lot of movies to gain ideas and to broaden my horizons regarding what I can do in my classes and also to improve my English. And that would boost me enough to be more productive. But nowadays, it doesn't work, and I need some more approaches, such as sharing my experiences with other teachers in forums and in TTC classes. Sometimes I hold the classes, and sometimes I am a participant in them. And I think that in the future, having a broader audience would be one of the things that helps me be more productive because it encourages me to produce more work and more quality work. So, these are some of the ways that I have thought of regarding enhancing my the productivity. So PPF. One is P. The first P is uh, past. I talked about some things I did in the past. Then the second P was present. I talked about some things that I do now. And F is about the future, some of the things that I can do in the future to improve my productivity. So this is another technique that we can use, we can implement to improve our response. The next one is, how long do you work every week? So this R is extra, it's a typo. How long do you work every week? Now, one of the things that is helpful in coming up with responses is the answer, it depends. So sometimes you have to give a very accurate answer, and it might trouble you. It might, shake your confidence because it's not always easy to do that. So, what you should do, or what you could do instead, is give a relative response. For instance, how long do you work every week? Well, it depends. There are some weeks that I have to work extra hours, as much as 80 hours a week. And there are some other weeks that I have much more free time in my hand, and I spend about like 30 or 40 hours a week working. But normally, I would say the average time I work on a weekly basis is between 40 to 50 hours. All right. Now, one of the things that I did in this answer was I did say it depends, but it also put me in a situation that I had to use the same structure over and over, and I had to paraphrase it. I had to say, sometimes I do this, but there are other occasions that I do this every week or on a weekly basis. And this is again another way that you could show your command of the language and how professionally you can speak in English. All right, let's go with the fourth question here. What uh, what do you learn from work? I should check them again. What do you learn from your work? So, what do you learn from work? Again, here ARE would be good, and in addition to ARE, PPF is not a very good response here because it would be very hard to talk about the future. But we could stick with the past and present, and we could only focus on these two. And a very good answer could be something like, well, in my field of work, there's a lot of things that you can learn. For instance, I remember one of the first students that I had was a very experienced teacher of geography, and her behavior uh, exhibited how an experienced teacher can behave to attract not only the attention of her students or his students, but also their mind and their respect. In addition, nowadays I'm learning that, by reading a lot of text and passages to teach in my classes, I'm learning that the world is revolving around new ideas, and it's never the same. And like this famous expression says, the only constant is change, and everything is always changing. So I think that a teacher is as much a teacher as he or she is a student, because they have to learn all the time. And this would be an answer that would make it extra philosophical. But you could, talk about some of the techniques and some of the skills that you learn about your work too. For instance, if you're an engineer, every project that you do would teach you how to work with a particular tool, or a particular, or some particular software. Software is uncountable, so you cannot say a software or several softwares. It's always software, some software, or a lot of software, or a lot of different types of software. Or if you're, for instance, a researcher, every time you want to do a research, you want to conduct a research, you have to gain a lot of knowledge and insight into the field. And this could expand your worldview, your worldview. Then we go with the next one. Is this a good job? Or is this a good opportunity? Is it suitable for your future development? Then again, this is something that you could use PPF for, because you say, all right, in the past it was like this, in the present it is like this, and in the future it will be like that. So that would give you a very good, basis for your response. So when you want to say that it isn't like this in the future, you have already given enough evidence to support your answer. And it is very important that your answers be supported. So here, is this a good opportunity? Is it suitable for your future development? I would say, well, I tend to believe so, because when I first started teaching, I was not only inexperienced, but also very impatient. And throughout the years, I've learned patience, and I have learned how to make plans. And I think that the skills and the points that I'm obtaining within this job and from this job via teaching will help me become an ever growing teacher. And this could make me a much better person in the future. So these are some ways that we could answer, and these are some sample answers that we could give to the questions in this part of IELTS. In next videos, we are going to talk about more and more topics. Let me just show you a few of the topics that we have here. We have a lot of topics, and these topics are the recent questions in the speaking of IELTS. And I think it would be a great asset for you to help. So far, we have learned that two very good strategies to answer questions are ARE and PPF, answer, reason, elaboration, and past, present, future. And knowing these techniques could help us organize our mind and the information we have put in it so far to present the most suitable answer. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel, to my channel, and uh, keep in touch. I look forward for our next videos, and see you soon again. Until then, you take care and study hard.